Hi, my name. Okay, put that right up there. My name's Bob. I'm alcoholic.
Hey, Bob.
I just came in to get some schedules for my home group, and this is what happened. Yeah, it was going to be December 7th, and something came up, and I'll be glad to get it out of the way. This, experience, strength, and hope. I spent a lot of work to get away from my experience and, what it was like. And so I spent too many days last week thinking about what it was like. And, it's never far from my mind, but I don't like to dwell on it. My sobriety date's St. Patty's Day 2011. I had no idea it was St. Patty's Day at the time. That's just how things worked out. Yeah, my home group's Waterfront down at Local 19 Hall Friday nights at 6:30, and you know I didn't get here because my mommy put me on the toilet seat backwards. I didn't get here because I woke up one morning and the sky was blue and the birds were singing. I think I'll go to AA. It was things got pretty bad. And I'm not here to share. That in detail. I do want to bring up, you know, uh, I have to listen for the similarities. I spend too much time hearing differences, you know. Like I didn't come from a messed up, family of alcoholics. I didn't see any alcoholism in my family. There's some people old enough in here that maybe to know what Ozzie and Harriet was. I know Jane knows what I mean. Yeah. you know, I had a family, things were good. I had all kinds of love and support. I had three sisters and mom and dad, functional stuff. We went back every summer to, the Black Hills to visit my relatives. I knew my great grandmother and my grandmothers and grandparents. And, we did all kind of family stuff. But, from right out of the gate, my first use was, I remember in early on, junior high, me and Brian, we each get our six pack. You know, mine's gone in 20 minutes. He's still nursing his first one, and I'm staring at the other five. You know, that's how it was right off the bat. Now, I didn't recognize that as alcoholic behavior at the time. I didn't recognize, what I'm like. Fuck, I don't think I was 14. It was one of them trips back through South Dakota. We went to visit my great uncle, and it's 1969, so I'd be like 12. And Seconal, Reds are on the cover. They're on the cover of Newsweek or Time or some shit. And why would a 12-year-old kid go into his uncle's medicine cabinet, But, I felt inclined, and here's this 300 hit jar of fucking Seconal Reds, just like I seen on the cover of that magazine. And I dumped a few out. Fucking bottle looked the same. So I dumped a few more out. Fuck, you'll never know. I took about 25 of them. So then I go down there. We're in some trailer park in Mesa, Arizona. I go down to the little mini mart and I stand around outside. I'm 12. Now I look back and I see pictures of me back there at 12. I had this brown corduroy jacket with the fleece. I thought I was fucking Jim Morrison at the time. I look at it now. I'm a little pencil neck little kid, but so I get some guy to get me a couple of 16-ounce Coors, and I slam one of them Seconals with one of them, and I caught some piece of barbed wire. I go walking out in the desert, and I catch some piece of barbed wire in my shoe, and boom, did a face plant in some ditch. I didn't get back. People are looking for me. It's like well after dark. I come wandering in from the desert. What the hell? And but of course, everybody looked the other way. And that's how the family was. My first job at 16, I got um, at Skipper's in the same parking lot as a White Center liquor store, and I would anybody buy a big order, hey, you go get me a couple of fifths, 151, and this fish is on me, and so. I'm stacking them bottles up in my little bedroom cave down at home, and nobody said anything about it. I think I said I got them from the neighbor. I don't know. Anyway, uh, so you know, I'll just share some things. Choices I made around drugs and alcohol that, looking back on, seems like I would have recognized an issue, but at the time, I didn't really see it. In like 1977, my buddy's parents give us this motorhome for a week to go skiing. We go up to Crystal Mountain. We got Humboldt weed, we got a keg, we got all kinds of drugs of that there was in 1977, and so I skied off some cliff on Quaaludes, and I thought it was a jump, well, it wasn't, and land on flat ice, and there was a doctor up on the slopes. He says, yeah, you just need to lay around for 6 or 8 weeks. You just sprained you took some little hammer down my spine, and so anyway. I saw this round trip airfare to Hawaii for $100 on Aero America. You whooped out old 707s out of Boeing Field, and so I go to Hawaii and uh, on an overnight decision, and I spend the next 10 years there. And I'm 21, and I got there, and I said, well, this looks like a pretty good place to make a living. This is after I huff around the beaches and camping out for 6 months, and uh, I said I need to get a car. That's what I need. I got $600 left, and I want a '67 Carmen Ghia. That's what I want. And, I'm hitchhiking to the laundromat. Here's this gal drawing up a for sale sign for a '67 Carmen Ghia, $600, and that's how it worked. I mean, that's how things just fell in my lap. I was a white kid from West Seattle. There wasn't a whole lot of bumps. And yet. I managed to derail things repeatedly. My parents are retiring. I'm in Hawaii. I got this business going. I started Bob's Bargain Rentals. I'm doing triathlons. I married this gal. Her sister's part of the deal. It's like a two for thing, and I fucking totally derailed that, because drugs and alcohol were more important, than running Bob's Bargain Rentals or, I was always spread too thin. And, the main objective was staying loaded, drinking beer, and it morphed into other things. Alcohol wasn't a big issue for me the last few decades. It was other things, but AA is where I find sobriety. So I moved back from Hawaii. The business imploded. The marriage went south. So I come back here and I hook up with an old high school squeeze, and we get married shortly thereafter. It seemed like the thing to do, and and I fell into this house. It was this beautiful view house in West Seattle, up above Fauntleroy Church, overlooking the ferry dock. I can see Endoline Joe's down there. Got a half acre of land. It's $95,000. 1986, and so I get that, and over the years, I get into AA because the gal I hooked up with, she's in AA. So fuck, I'll get sober, and for I stayed in AA for a while there. I was passing my business cards. Now I'm Bob's Bargain Rentals. No, now I'm Auto Bob. Yeah, I'm Auto Bob, and I'm fixing cars, and I'm passing my cards all over AA. All you neurotic fucking alcoholics, And I know it's making this noise. I know it. Yeah, it is. And anyway, I was an honest guy, and I still am, and I just know how to fix cars, and so. I get that house paid down. I'm sober for almost 5 years, and Big Jim lives up the street. He comes visits me all the time, and tells me how good everything's going, and I get that house paid down to like 65 grand, and I'm, I'm, uh, all of a sudden I think, fuck, maybe I should sell this house and get into all them hard drugs I never did before. I'm thinking at 45, that'd be a great time to just start smoking crack and shooting dope, and all my friends will be jealous, and I mean, I think I actually thought that, and so I made some notes here just in case. This never works out very well. The notes, I recognized that drugs and alcohol were controlling my life, and it's fine if it's all I'm ever going to do. But like when I moved to Hawaii, I'm going to move there to get away from pot. That's actually what I thought, and you know, obviously that didn't fly too well. But so anyways, I lost that house. All of a sudden, I didn't sell it when it had 65,000. I had it paid down that far. Then I start doing dope, and all of a sudden I owe 3.25 on it. I was getting these bogus equity lines. Back then, they didn't really look at tax returns, and I met Dave Ramshire, the Longshore accountant, and I shouldn't say that, should I? Anyway, so I borrowed all kinds of money, and all of a sudden I'm losing the house, and so I hit the streets at 45, and pursue a life of. I just hit the underbelly, things got worse and worse. You just there is no bottom. It's until you die. I was in and out of jail. I checked myself into a treatment center once to beat a drug rap, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to quit. That was the deal. And then now I came in this time. I started shipping out to Alaska, and I'd gone a couple of years, and I hit the dock running. The first, as soon as I get back, I'd have the drug man meet me at the dock, and I'm 50, and I'm up under the freeway and shit. It just covered with sores, 50 pounds underweight. It's 50 pounds lighter than I am now, and I'd always been an enterprising guy. I was always healthy. I was a long ways from healthy or enterprising now. I had no hustle. I learned how to be on time in AA. And, hi, Kelly. Didn't work for me. So, I got less now than I ever had on paper, but I got this. I've had a taste of what serenity is. I've had a taste of what friends are. I got into a relationship about 3 years sober here, 3 4 years sober. Well, when I got sober this time, a guy said. He asked me if I had a sponsor. I said no. So I come back in from Alaska this third year. I was terrified to get off the boat. I had money. Skipper wouldn't pay me. It's in the bank. He won't give me any money. He won't let. He said, if you leave, you're not coming back. So I just stayed on the boat in Fisherman's Terminal, and he took me to morning rush every morning at 7 a.m. And I got about 18 months together, and this self-appointed sponsor says, we're really getting tired of listening to you talk about this toxic skipper and that whole fucked up environment on the boat. And, there's an Oxford House here in Ballard, and you're willing to go to any length. And, I didn't know that meant pay money to live with 10 other guys. But, that was the beginning for me. That was being accountable, on a whole new level, being 24/7 around other people that most of them trying to stay sober. And, you know, there was that morning rush meeting every day, a lot of meetings in Ballard, you know, because back in the day, if there was going to be a bar, there had to be a church. And so there's a lot of churches in Ballard. And because of that, a lot of AA. And so, you know, I learned they said, stick with the winners, you know, and look at people that have something you want, you know, and I don't mean their wife, you know, or their car. You know, it's, you know, people that I started listening for the similarities. You know, I'd listen to somebody that had a bottom, you know, that I could relate to, you know, that did dope when they were 50, you know, and now they got a life past that, you know, they got a life uh, from there on out. You know, I do a whole lot to try and have a life worth staying sober for. I think that's really key for me. You know, is I have a life that I want to maintain. You know, that it's not some life I lost, you know, due to drugs and alcohol. It's a life that's come since I've been sober this time. And you know, this work that you talk about, you know, these steps. Well, for me, that was, you know, to learn how to forgive myself. You know, the last people that would breathe the same air as me when I'm like, you know, early 50s was my family, you know, my mom and dad. And I just bled them dry. You know, I sold everything I had. When I sold that house, I moved everything into a storage locker. Then I moved into the storage locker. I got all kind of tips on how you could live in a storage locker and outsmart the camera by climbing over fences. And, you know, again, I'm pretty sure that, you know, everybody was jealous. And so, anyway, when I got sober, I got to advocate for my dad. You know, you know, he's 92, then he was 94, then he was 96, then he started slipping into dementia, you know, and I got to take care of his, you know, find care for him, find different levels of assisted living. I got him into the VA when he was 92. He'd never been to the VA. He's a World War II vet, and you know, he'd trip and fall, and I'd sit up there in the ER with him for days, and you know, doing that 4 step, writing some stuff down and talking to somebody about it. Talk's cheap, you know. I've done that stuff before, you know. For me, it took, you know, sure, maybe that shined a light on some things I needed to address. The sponsor this time, he says, you know, let's just try and focus on what's keeping you awake at night. You know, what's first on your mind when you're getting up in the morning. Maybe we'll look at that and start there, and you'll probably find a pattern. You know, and I got to I started my business up again. You know, thanks to Larry here. He says, yeah, I'm not using a garage. You know, it's got a lift in it. You know, and that helped a lot. Here I am. I'm productive again. I'm working. Larry's in and out of the garage all day. My whole client base is people out of the meetings. So it's like an all day meeting up in there. And like I say, I got to advocate for my dad for a good 10 years before he passed here a couple years back. He was 98. And, you know, uh, I got to oversee his passing and what to do with him afterwards and put a service together. And uh, if I hadn't got to do all that, if I hadn't got to advocate for him for 10 years, I would have been carrying around all kinds of guilt. But again, I use the analogy, I quit smoking cigarettes at 5 years. So huh? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's not alcohol, but I mean, it was a big light bulb for me when I quit smoking cigarettes at 5 years sober. Some guy in a meeting at 5, you're still smoking, blah blah. Yeah. So anyway, you know, it showed me, oh, so this guilt and shame and remorse. Because I mean, I would leave CrossFit and I'd sneak around a corner and I'd light one up. It was just like I did any drug. It was in the closet. It was behind people's back. I felt like shit about it. And all of a sudden I learned that it's me that's accruing this guilt and shame and remorse and regret. I don't have to live a life where I rack that shit up. I can live a life where I avoid those emotions. And to me, that's spiritual principles. I'm not a religious guy, but I know, to me, spirituality is doing the right thing for the right reasons, not racking up a bunch of shit that I feel bad about, that I can't sleep at night. If I go to bed at night and I wake up in the morning unaided, I know I'm winning. I set the little timer on the radio to play King or play just beautiful music, and it goes for like 15 minutes, and I never hear it turn off. I mean, I hit the pillow and I'm out, because I'm at ease, most of the time. Like I said, I got into a relationship when I ain't saying she 13th stepped me, but she had 38 years, I had 3, so go figure. And we spent 9 years together. We did all kinds of stuff. It was all wherever we traveled a lot. And we always found AA meetings, and that's a great way. You say, "Hey, I'm from out of town," and you travel at Christmas time. Most people got the week off. They help you around town. They show you stuff. They take you to meetings. You meet people. It's a great network. Anyway, that gal and I, we were gonna get married. Now, some sponsor, some of these guys just got way too much fucking smarts. He says, you think maybe the marriage was just instead of dealing with some shit maybe you should have been dealing with? And, granted, communication's never been a big issue with me. It's never been the best. It wasn't with her either. A lot of stuff got swept under the rug. So, anyway, things blew up. Instead of getting married at 9 years, I'm living in a fucking mud flats back behind Larry's garage in my trailer. And, and then right after that, I break my wrist, and I'm surrounded by my buddies in AA. I'm surrounded by guys that know I got to get all my stuff out of her house, in the next couple of days. I can't do shit. The program took on all new meaning for me. People showing up with trucks and what can I do? Now, granted, you have a bunch of people pack all your shit up, you'll never find it again. I mean, I got boxes. I don't know where the hell anything is. But I did drag up. I did find my little AA library the other day. Speaking at some other event. So the timer went black. What's it all mean? There we go. So, I go to a lot of meetings. I try and have a service position. I was secretary at the waterfront for 6 years. That coupled with the Oxford House and the commitment of getting from Ballard to the Longshore Hall every Friday. I mean, that's the kind of behavior it took for me to get sober. The step work, being a service work is all for me largely to feel like I fit in, because we all talk about that. We're loners, we're outsiders, we don't feel part of this. I had to work a lot to feel part of this, to fit in. And again, step work just to say I did it, just so I could feel like I was all in. Because I maintained a healthy fear of drugs and alcohol came up and kicked my ass repeatedly. A sponsor explained to me uh, an analogy of the first step, and you can use this if you want. It is January. I was in this group, this band, and it's turn of the century, and we had this song, turn of the century, and it was 1999, and that's when I threw myself in treatment to beat this drug rap, and I'd come out and I'm sober. Shit, I can't go back and play with them guys. Debauchery with dignity, we used to call her, we'd say, and I can't do that. And then, the day before the show, New Year's Eve, I can probably go. I'll just leave at 10. That'll work. Yeah. And, I got the sponsor says, yeah, you could probably pull it off. You could probably leave and, you could probably go rehearse a few times and get away with it. But what you're doing is direct defiance of the first step. You're trying to prove to yourself you got control over these situations that repeatedly kicked your ass. And, I was at a point where I could hear that, and it made sense. And so I don't tempt drugs and alcohol. I don't, I've learned to talk to people. That bit about with my dad. I went to caregiver dementia caregiver support groups because if it works for drinking, it might work for that. And it did. And learning how to talk to other people about my problems, sharing at meetings my successes, my challenges. That is what has kept me sober. That is because that's not natural. I'd be hanging out in a meeting for years at a time and nobody knows shit about me. I wouldn't, you never really share anything. Well, I try not to live that way now. I've tried to spend this last 13 years uh, talking about what is going on in my head today, talking about what kind of challenge I got. Fucking Ken's truck is kicking my ass today. I called some people up and I talked about it. Anyway, that's off the point. But you know, uh, the pharmaceutical thing. I'll just share here a while back. Um, it started with the gal. She had a hip replacement, a couple of them, and they gave her an OxyContin. She had 42 years sober, and hell no, she says this feels too good. I cannot do this, and told the doctor. And anyway, I call my sponsor, who's clinical psychiatrist, 40 years in the field. He says, yeah, doctors who are junkies ask for tramadol. And it's got a. So I had a hernia recently, and I told him I don't want any any of this stuff. And I got, and the doctor didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I said I was a drug addict. He says, I thought you said you were sober. And and anyway, tramadol doesn't have the euphoria. Yeah, it's an opiate, but you know, he gets sliced open and he leaves a wallet in there. It's this mesh thing. It hurt. I always said I'm never going to do drugs. I don't care if they cut my blah blah blah. Doctor giving me oxy, it'd be like here's a 8 ball of crack. Just smoke one rock every 4 hours. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, and so. I know that stuff could take me down in a second. So, the tramadol, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the pain, but I didn't get high. And I got away from it as soon as I could. And I talked about it in meetings all the time. I talked about it with a sponsor, who thankfully is a doctor. Anyway, those are a couple of main causes of relapse: pharmaceuticals and relationships. There's a slip under every skirt, and forget it. So thanks, everybody, and come on down to the waterfront sometime. I tried to emulate Stevie Wonder with the stream of consciousness level of sharing. I hope it worked.
Good.
Yep.